Token maxing is one of those things that in retrospect seems so dumb, but at the time everyone was doing it to a certain degree, and it led us to use AI for programming in a very unrealistic way. See, the problem with AI for programming is that it makes a lot of mistakes and it makes it all the time. And when we first bumped into this reality, we had two different options. One was to limit the usage of AI because of that, and two was to throw more AI at the problem to try to fix it, which is exactly what a lot of us decided to do. If the AI isn't able to implement something, we write a test and then we let the AI do it in a loop until the test passes. And in a reality where tokens are free or almost free to use, this seemed like a great idea. But things are starting to change and people are starting to realize that token maxing was a mistake. And don't get me wrong, this problem is not going away completely. As you can see, there are people still burning through $30,000 worth of tokens, other people around 17,000. But things are quickly starting to change, especially because companies simply cannot afford to continue doing this. Up until now, plans like the Cloud subscription or GitHub Copilot were subsidizing almost all of the cost of tokens. And while we don't know for certain, we can assume that they're making these changes because they cannot afford this anymore. And not only are the companies that offer these plans changing the pricing structure, but also companies that use AI within their organizations are doing the same. For example, it has been a report that Uber is now capping the monthly employee AI spending at $1,500 per tool amid soaring costs, which honestly seems like a smart thing to do, but just a couple of months ago, these companies were doing the exact opposite. They were telling employees, you need to spend more tokens, you need to use more AI. And some reports painted a very strange picture where some of these companies had leaderboards, where you could literally see who within your organization was spending the most amount of tokens, and this was not being done to track spending or anything like that. It was literally the more tokens you spend, the better. So imagine something like this rank here, but within an organization. And now it seems that almost overnight, all of these companies are doing a 180 and doing the exact opposite. They're telling their employees that they should not spend as much tokens and actually try to minimize their token usage as much as possible. We'll have to see where this ends up in the end, but it is very strange for me to see companies that are so huge in valuations and have so many people who apparently should be smart people who know what they're doing, just following these trends. From the start of this year up until now, everyone was going crazy over token usage. The more tokens you spend, the better. And it sort of went from being this niche thing on social media, mostly on Twitter X, where developers were bragging about the amount of tokens they were spending, and it ended up being part of the culture at companies like Uber, Facebook, and others. And while all of this was happening, no one was asking the most important question, which is this even useful? Am I actually doing something more by spending more tokens, or am I just wasting money? Literally setting money on fire. And I don't think it's necessarily one or the other, but I'm pretty sure that most of the people that were incentivized to spend as many tokens as possible were not doing so in a smart way, and they were not making sure that the amount of tokens that they were spending actually had some kind of use case. It improved their productivity, made them ship better features faster. Instead, most people were spending tokens like they were literally free, and I think that as a result, we learned how to use AI in the wrong way, with workflows that rely on just throwing more AI at the problem instead of actually trying to understand things and only using AI where it makes sense, because at the end of the day, it is just a tool.